Okay, let's do a quick reality check because I don't want to turn normal human eating into a diagnosis, unlike some unqualified internet experts who hand out diagnoses like free samples at Costco. I ran out of breath. What's up, you beautiful beasts? In this video, we're going to talk about food noise, what it actually is, why some people experience it nonstop, why it has nothing to do with being weak, and how to turn down the volume without sliding back into diet culture. Food noise is one of those topics that gets people weirdly moral like really fast. It's like the internet can't help itself. Somebody always slides in with food noise is made up, or people just need discipline, or stop being dramatic. And I'm over here like, with love and a tiny bit of spice. If you've never experienced relentless, intrusive thoughts about food, I'm genuinely happy for you, but your lack of experience is not proof that it doesn't exist. It just means that you're not the target audience for this video. So please don't use your quiet brain as the standard everyone else is supposed to meet, because you're not them and they're not you. It's kind of like judging someone's mile time when you're running on a flat track and they're sprinting uphill in a rainstorm. So if you're like, yeah, I can't relate, that's totally fine. This channel probably isn't for you, unless you want to stick around and learn what it's like inside someone else's brain for a minute. Because there's a big difference between I thought about lunch and my brain has been running a 24/7 food radio station since 2003 and the DJ will not clock out. And the reason I'm not just making this up for dramatic effect is that researchers are now treating food noise like a real phenomenon that can be defined and measured, not just a trendy phrase that people throw around online. So we're gonna do this the compassionate, science-nerdy Feed the Beast way. Let's get into it.
Disclaimer, I am not a registered dietitian, but I am an NASM certified personal trainer, certified nutritionist, and master neurotransformational results coach. I believe food is nourishment, not punishment. This space is about feeding your body, not fighting it, backed by science and built on curiosity, compassion, and connection, with room for both nutrient-dense meals and joy-filled snacks. This content is for education and reflection, not a prescription. If you have a medical condition or eating disorder, please connect with a registered dietitian, doctor, or qualified specialist. You deserve to feel safe with food, and that starts with learning to listen to your body, not silence it.
What food noise actually means. So when most people say food noise, they're not talking about normal hunger or normal decision-making like, do I want eggs or yogurt? They're talking about persistent thoughts about food that feel intrusive, unwanted, and sometimes straight up distressing. That kind can mess with your mood, your focus, your social life, and your ability to feel calm around eating. In the research world, food noise has been described as persistent, intrusive, food-related thoughts that can feel unwanted or dysphoric, and can cause harm socially, mentally, or physically. In normal person language, it's not that you have food thoughts, it's the intensity, it's the stickiness. It's how the thoughts keep looping even when you don't want them there, and how they start hijacking your day. So if you've ever thought, why is my brain acting like food is my full-time job and I didn't apply for this position? That's the vibe we're talking about. Quick check-in. Is this food noise or just being a human who eats? Okay, let's do a quick reality check because I do not want to turn normal human eating into a diagnosis, unlike some unqualified internet experts who hand out diagnoses like free samples at Costco. If your food thoughts are mostly neutral and practical, like planning a grocery list, remembering you should probably eat something with protein, or noticing hunger and going, yep, that checks out, that's just life. That's just your brain doing basic human admin. Food noise starts to look more like this. You're trying to work, watch a show, hang out with your kid, or fall asleep, and your brain keeps yanking you back to food. Not because you're choosing it, not because you're obsessed. It's more like a pop-up ad that you did not click, and it keeps reopening itself. And it's not just what sounds good. It turns into this constant negotiation. What you should have, what you're allowed to have, what you can have, what you already had, what you'll have later. And then the bonus round, what any of this means about you as a person. It often comes with this undercurrent of pressure, guilt, urgency, or that annoying, I need to fix this energy. And if you're nodding like, yeah, my brain also wants to build a color-coded spreadsheet about it, I see you. Why it happens. The non-shame explanation. Okay, first, I want to say this so clearly that you can tattoo it on your forehead in glitter ink. Food noise is not a character flaw. It's not proof that you lack discipline, and it's not proof that you're broken. It's usually what happens when a few very normal human things collide and your brain flips into survival mode. One big driver is restriction history, including what's called unconscious dieting. Unconscious dieting is when you're not technically on a diet, but you're still living like food has a morality score. You still have rules, you still have good foods and bad foods, you still have that background vibe of I shouldn't. And the brain hates scarcity. Scarcity makes food louder, and forbidden foods get louder. This is part of the diet backlash effect. The more you try to clamp down, the more your brain treats it like scarcity and cranks food thoughts up to maximum volume, as if you're headed into a famine and it's trying to keep you alive. Thank you, brain. Very dramatic, very committed. Another driver is food cues. We live in a world where food is basically stalking us. Ads, smells, apps, drive-thrus, someone eating chips in a commercial like it's a romance scene. Your brain learns cues, and cues can trigger cravings and intrusive thoughts, even when you're not physically hungry. This isn't weakness, this is conditioning. This is your brain doing what brains do. It's kind of like hearing the ice cream truck song and suddenly you're 7 years old again with $1 in your hand and 0 coping skills. Another driver is stress and sleep. When your nervous system is overloaded, your brain starts scanning for relief. And food or food planning can become the quickest comfort button that it knows. Then add exhaustion, and your brain has less bandwidth for regulation and way more interest in whatever feels rewarding right now, so the food thoughts get louder and stickier. Priorities. Another driver is dopamine and reward learning. Food is rewarding for a reason. It's not a moral issue, that's survival. In modern life, with endless cues and endless stress, the reward system can get really loud and really persuasive like a toddler with a megaphone. If you want the full nerdy deep dive on the comfort side of this, click here for my emotional eating video. And sometimes food noise is amplified by shame. When food is tied to identity, worth, or morality, thoughts about food get heavier. It stops being about what should I eat and becomes more like, what does this say about me? And that's f***ing exhausting. That's not nutrition, that's a courtroom. This is why Just Have Willpower is a trash plan. It totally ignores biology, learning, stress, and a whole lifetime of cultural conditioning. It's like telling someone with a smoke alarm blaring, have you tried being quieter? The GLP-1 conversation without the internet screaming. Okay, deep breath. We are going to talk about GLP-1 meds without the comment section lighting itself on fire. You've probably heard people say medications like Ozempic or Wegovy turn off the food noise. And here's the deal. For a lot of people, that's not just internet hype. It's real. These meds can genuinely quiet the constant intrusive food thoughts. I know because I'm one of them. The volume drop can be so dramatic that people suddenly realize, oh, this is what it feels like to have brain space again. That shift is a big reason the phrase food noise suddenly popped off everywhere. People realized that for some folks, the constant stream of food thoughts gets dramatically quieter, and it was a huge light bulb moment that not everyone's brain runs food content in the background all day. So researchers have been paying attention to this too and are basically saying, okay, we need to define this clearly, measure it better, and understand what actually changes it, including different interventions and medications. And if you want my full science nerdy breakdown on GLP-1 medications, click here. Now, I want to add something important because even when the noise turns down, the relationship piece still matters. Because food noise is not the only thing diet culture leaves behind. A lot of us still have fear foods, good versus bad thinking, body distrust, shame, and that reflex to clamp down the second things feel out of control. GLP-1s can be a tool that gives you breathing room. They can turn the volume down, and that quiet can be powerful because it creates space to do the deeper work, like healing your relationship with food, rebuilding your trust with your body, and unlearning the shame and rules that diet culture wired into you. That's why pairing medication support with coaching or therapy can be such a game changer, especially with someone who understands both the physiology and the psychology. The goal is not just less noise, the goal is real inner peace. 2 important notes because we do nuance in this house. 1, medication is not a moral shortcut. If something helps a person medically, that doesn't mean they cheated, it means they got support. We do not hand out virtue points for suffering. 2, GLP-1s can be complicated for people with a current or past eating disorder because appetite suppression can sometimes interact with restrictive patterns in risky ways. So if you're considering anything medical, please talk with a qualified clinician who actually screens you properly, understands your history, and can help you make a decision that supports your whole health, not just a number. How to turn down the volume without dieting. Now the part that you actually came for. How do we turn down food noise in a way that actually feeds you, supports you, and does not shove you back into the allowed foods prison where joy goes to die? First, we move from what can I have to what do I want? It sounds simple, but if you've lived in diet culture, it's basically a whole personality shift. What can I have is rule-based. It turns eating into a test that you're constantly trying to pass. What do I want is internal. It invites interoception, which is your ability to notice your body's signals, hunger, fullness, satisfaction, and even emotional state. And if that question feels hard, it doesn't mean you're failing. It just means that you've been trained to outsource your own signals to rules, apps, points, macros, and random strangers on the internet. The good news is that you can retrain that skill. It comes back. Second, we lower biological urgency with steady, satisfying eating. Now, I'm not saying you need to eat on a rigid schedule with alarms like you're feeding a zoo animal. I'm just saying that if you go long stretches underfueled, your brain turns the food volume up to maximum. Undereating is a megaphone. Your biology will start screaming to get your attention. That's not lack of discipline, that's your body doing its job. So instead of focusing on eating less, the better question is how to eat in a way that leaves you satisfied enough that your brain stops acting like you're entering Hunger Games. Third, we add satisfaction on purpose. Get your mind out of the gutter so mine can float by. A lot of food noise is fueled by the endless chase of something, but not that. You know that vibe where you keep eating around the craving like you're trying to solve a riddle? It's like scratching an itch with a fork. Satisfaction matters. Pleasure matters. Variety matters. And sometimes the volume turns down when you stop trying to hack your cravings and you actually let your body have what it wants in a grounded, supported way. Fourth, we stop making food a courtroom. If every meal feels like you're on trial, your brain will keep obsessing. Food is not a moral event. You're not good because you ate a salad and bad because you ate fries. You ate food. Congratulations, you're alive. That's the assignment. Fifth, we reduce cue ambushes. Not because you're weak, but because you're human. If you know your food noise goes feral when you scroll at night, that's not a personality flaw, that's data. Maybe you unfollow a few accounts. Maybe you stop watching food videos at 10 p.m. like it's bedtime stories for your cravings. And yes, I say this as someone who has absolutely watched videos of people eating crab legs with a little butter dip and the crack and the whole dramatic situation. Don't judge me. The point is not avoid food forever. The point is noticing what cranks your brain volume up and then turning down the constant cue exposure when you can. Sometimes that's digital, like your feed. Sometimes it's physical, like what you're seeing all day in your kitchen. Not because any food is bad or should be banned, but because you deserve to make choices without feeling pinged 47 times a day by triggers that you didn't ask for. Sixth, we practice interoception in tiny steps. Think of this like rebuilding your Wi-Fi signal between you and your body. Not a dramatic overhaul, just a few little reps that add up. Try it once a day with one meal or snack. Before you eat, take a breath and ask, what do I notice in my body right now? And then, what kind of hunger is this? Is it like stomach hunger, brain fog hunger, stress hunger, bored and procrastinating hunger? Or the classic, I forgot to eat and now I'm one inconvenience away from crying hunger? Then ask, what would actually feel satisfying right now? Not what you think you should pick, what would feel satisfying. Then, halfway through, do a quick check. Am I still hungry or am I shifting into satisfied? And after, how do I feel physically and mentally? Not in a judgment way, just a curious data way. This isn't tracking, it's reconnecting. And if you feel disconnected from your body, you're totally not alone. That's super common after chronic dieting, stress, trauma, or honestly, just existing in a world that teaches you to override your own needs. You're not broken, you're just rebuilding a signal strength. Seventh, if food noise is intense and impairing, you deserve real support. If your thoughts about food feel obsessive, compulsive, or just like they're taking over your life, that's not something you have to white knuckle through. That's a valid reason to get help. Working with a licensed therapist, especially someone familiar with eating concerns, OCD patterns, or trauma, can be genuinely life-changing because you don't get extra credit for suffering in silence. The whole point of Feed the Beast. This is exactly why we're keeping this in Feed the Beast. Yeah, there's nervous system and mental health overlap because you're a whole person and everything affects everything. But food noise is also deeply connected to feeding. It gets louder when your body feels undersupported, when restriction or unconscious dieting is in the mix, when satisfaction is missing, when cues are everywhere, when stress and sleep are running the show, and when your brain is trying to keep you safe with the only tools that it knows. Feed the Beast is not just about nutrients and numbers. It's about nourishment that creates safety. It's permission. It's satisfaction. It's learning how to eat in a way that steadies your body and calms your brain instead of turning every meal into a test that you have to pass. And when food noise turns down, it's not just easier to eat, it's easier to think, easier to be present, easier to enjoy your day without your brain constantly running in the background. It's easier to live. So, let's wrap this up. If you experience food noise, tell me in the comments. When is it the loudest for you? Nighttime, afternoon slump, after a stressful day, when you're trying to be good? I want to know because patterns are not shame, patterns are power. And here's the main takeaway. You don't need more willpower. You need more support. You need more safety in your body, more permission around food, more satisfaction, more rest, more tools. Because your brain is not a problem to bully. It's something to understand. And when you learn how to support yourself, that's how you start unveiling the beautiful beast within you.